Hello, everyone, and welcome to a fall sports edition of the Portage Daily Register's sports webcast alongside Travis. I'm Dan. We've got a few things to talk about today. The prep football playoffs, at least for the 6 area teams that qualified, finished. The Packers and Badgers have had pretty good 2 weeks, and the championship part of the swimming schedule coming up with sectionals and state in the next couple weeks. But first, Travis was in Wisconsin Rapids last weekend to watch the 5 area runners that qualified for state up there. Travis, tell us a little bit about how they did.
Yeah, it was an interesting day for area runners up at the ridges up there in Wisconsin Rapids. In the D2 girls race, leading local runners was Michaela Badansky from Lodi. She was making her 3rd trip in 3 years to state, and she finished with her best time in those 3 trips, finishing 14th in the D2 girls race with a time of 15:27. That was, like I said, her best time in 3 trips. And 14th, that's out of like 150 runners, so that's a heck of a time. In the same race, Paige Peschel from Westfield Montello, she was a freshman. Going in, she probably had you figured the best chance of maybe placing. She had the 10th best sectional time of all the runners in the field, but she struggled a bit and finished 31st. 15:49 was her time, which is almost a minute slower than her PR, so she struggled a little bit on that course. In the same race, Tori Ruff from Poinet, a junior, finished 79th with a time of 16:35. In the D3 girls race, Partyville's Leah Johnson, a freshman, she was obviously making her state debut. She finished 28th in her race with a time of 16:23. And in the D2 boys race, Poinet's Trevor Moen, senior, so it was his last high school race. He's actually planning on running at UW Platteville next year. He finished 73rd with a time of 17:42. So all in all, not a bad day for local runners up there.
Yeah, really, and like you said, 150 runners or so in those races. So all 5 runners in close to the top 50%. You know, the top
Right.
50 there. So that's a pretty nice effort. And moving on to the prep football playoffs, we had 3 teams left in level 2, and really the only good game, I guess, was up in Partyville. The Bulldogs fell behind 13-0, but really impressed with their resiliency. It was 13-0, about a minute left, 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and they answered with touchdowns on 2 straight possessions after that to stay within a touchdown, 20-14 at halftime. When the way things started, certainly could have gotten out of hand pretty quickly,
Right.
and forced a couple third quarter turnovers. Just couldn't take advantage on either of those drives, and ultimately got wore down in the fourth quarter. But really a strong, resilient effort out of Partyville, and afterward, Mike Haynes finished after 13 years, and I'm sure that was part of it. And for the seniors, their last game, but a lot of emotion out near midfield, a lot of hugs between the guys and between Mike afterwards. So certainly a strong effort by Partyville. Congratulations to them. Down in Lodi earlier in the day, Lodi just got punched in the mouth with about 3.5 minutes left in the second quarter. A flurry from Delvin Darien, 3 touchdowns in a 2-minute span, and all of a sudden it was 27-0 at halftime. And for Lodi, they were the underdog there. Delvin entered 9-1, and when that sort of thing happens, when you know you need to play a pretty perfect game of football, you know, it's just tough to overcome that, especially when you have 12 minutes to think about it in the locker room.
Right.
But that was a strong senior class for Lodi. Like Coach Dave Pulse pointed out to me afterward, they won every year in the first round, 3 years in varsity, and came within a game of state last year as juniors. Hats off to them. And then Rio finished with a loss up in Schofield, Division 7 to Wausau Newman, 42-7. So, but another nice season for Rio, whose program kind of trending up and continuing to get better. So all the area teams done in the football playoffs will pay attention to who comes out on top in all 7 divisions. Certainly some strong competition remaining. And staying with football, like we said at the outset, a couple pretty good weeks for the Packers and Badgers. And
Yeah.
the Badgers, even though they didn't play last weekend, things still went pretty well.
Yeah, the Badgers the latest BCS rankings came out on Sunday night, and they are the top-ranked BCS ranking team in the Big Ten. So, and that's a big deal because they should be favored in all 4 of their remaining games in the regular season. And if they can win those four games, they're going to be headed to a BCS bowl, which they haven't done for a few years. So it's it's a nice thing to have.
And certainly probably a good time to get their bye there after those 2 emotional wins. And with 4 games to go in the Big Ten, me and Travis were talking earlier, probably the most exciting Big Ten finish for Badgers fans since 2004 when they started 9-0, and even before that, 1999 when they finished with the Rose Bowl championship. So exciting times in Madison and in the state. Packers, probably unexpected, but certainly impressive win out in New York on Sunday.
Yeah, to beat the Jets in New York 9-0, that's huge. The keys to the game I thought were the run defense. The Jets are a very good running team, and they just stopped them on the run, which meant Mark Sanchez had to try to beat him throwing the ball, and he just couldn't do it. He wasn't accurate enough. Other keys I thought, Packers didn't turn the ball over. Rodgers was good when no one was open. He just threw it out of bounds, which was smart. And a huge, maybe overlooked thing was punting. Tim Mastey, the punter for the Packers, the Jets had 0 return yards on the punts, and by far his best day as a Packer.
And probably the most fun game to watch, maybe save for last week against the Vikings for Packers fans who probably called for Tim Mastey's job earlier in the year and wondered how the Packers are going to stop the run without a couple linebackers and a couple defensive linemen. But 9-0, and the Packers certainly look a little more like the team we thought they'd be to start the season now than a few weeks ago. Moving on to swimming. Every year this time, one of the last remaining fall sports moving into the postseason. Sectionals coming up this weekend on Saturday, and state the following Friday for Division II at least. Last year, Lodi's Sierra Sokjan really had a nice finish to the season. She was 4th in both the 100 backstroke and the 100 freestyle at the sectional meet, and then 14th at the state meet in both of those events. And just looking at her times from state last year, she finished the backstroke in 1 minute 2.07 seconds. This year, last week on Friday at the conference meet, she finished that event in 1:02.75. So she's on pace. Swimmers generally scheduled to finish the season with their best time. She's on pace to do as well, if not better, there. And in the freestyle, she finished 14th at state in 55.6 seconds. Already better than that this season at the conference meet. 55.18. So it'll be interesting to see how she does in the coming weeks. And it was interesting to see the results for the Portage 400 freestyle relay team's effort on Friday at the conference meet, where we're going to bring back something that you and Kevin Morales did last year. The Portage Daily Register's Athlete of the Week, in this case 4 girls, is the 400 free relay team for setting a new school record in that event. Danae Ruland, Dana Qualley, Tara Schmudlock, and Devin Nelson swam that event in 4 minutes, 10.75 seconds for, like I said, a new school record, beating Stephanie Cook, Nicole Krintz, Amanda Spangberg, and Allison Watson's time of 4:11.25 back in 2001. So congratulations to all 4 of those girls, and we will pay attention to how they do on Saturday in Baraboo at sectionals. So that should wrap things up here. Until next time, everybody, take care.